With that being said, I would like to call the September 3rd, 2025 Board of Aldermen meeting to order at 7 o'clock. Please stand and join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, is there anyone here who would like to give an invocation? None heard, so we will just pause for a moment of silence. Okay, City Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Whitteman,
Here.
Alderman Detweiler, Alderman Gittmeyer, Alderman Johnson, Alderman Nay, Alderman Waters, Alderman Wilson.
Present.
Okay, so the first order of business on the agenda tonight is the consent agenda. On the consent agenda, we have a couple of different appointments to planning and zoning as well as to the Bearhaven CID. So before we move into the actual voting process of that, I would like to introduce two of the appointees that are here tonight in the audience, Paul Neske and Angela Lamb. Paul, would you like to say anything to the board? An opportunity to address the board now and tell them why you would like to serve on this Planning and Zoning Commission. And
Well, good evening. As the mayor said, my name's Paul Neske. I've lived in this area since 2000. My wife and my two daughters. I lived in O'Fallon for the first 14 years, and last 11 years I've lived in Chinook Village off of Henning for 11 years. I'm a retired police officer. I did 34 years with St. Louis County. I now work at the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, where I'm an analyst and investigator. Can't tell you more than that. I'm basically I've given service to my community since I was 20 years old, and kind of lost that the last 5 years. I kind of miss it. And when the mayor approached me, and I was a little apprehensive. I've never been in any political thing or committees or anything like that. I've been a good person when it comes to judgment. My last 12 years of my service with St. Louis County, I worked undercover for the Social Security Administration. I held a top security clearance, and I did fraud, waste, and abuse within the disability program. So I don't like waste, I don't like fraud, and I definitely don't like abuse. So I thought, hey, I'm a service-oriented individual. I think that it's time to maybe do a little something. And when the mayor approached me, I prayed about it and came up with that decision. So
thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And Angela, would you like to say a few words as well?
Thank you, everyone. My name is Angela Lamb, and I am a transplant to the state of Missouri. My husband, my daughter, and I moved here in 2017 for his job, and we have lived in Darden Prairie since then. We are active in our community, both at ICD Parish as well as St. Dominic, which is where our daughter graduated from. We are self-serving people or self-service people. We like to make sure that we are involved in our community and making sure that we speak for those that can't speak for themselves. So we also volunteer at St. Vincent de Paul, even though we don't have children that go to ICD anymore, and also at St. Dominic, even though we also don't have a child that goes there anymore either. We just believe that serving where we can is something that we should all do as citizens of this community. And when Mayor Whitteman approached me and being part of this committee, I was definitely very much interested in being a part of that. So thank you very much for your time this evening.
She's also being humble. She served in the United States Marine Corps as well. So she is a Marine Corps veteran too. So that being said, are there any questions or concerns with the consent agenda? I entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Alderman Johnson, second by Alderman Gittmeyer. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None heard. The consent agenda is approved. Do we have anybody who wishes to speak in public comment?
Hey, my name is Rich Linderman. I'm in in Bainbridge. I'd like to talk. A friend of mine at the end of last week told me there was HUD housing available in Prairie Encore, and she was thinking about applying to go there, and has since changed her mind and is now moving out of the area. But so I didn't. It was, since it's luxury, I really didn't think it would be HUD housing. But evidently it is, because I called up the rental number, and their comment to me was, we don't have HUD housing per se. They have to qualify, and under HUD housing, they're basically getting a subsidized rental, so their qualifications are substantially lower than John Doe off the street, who isn't in HUD housing. So I hope you guys would take a look at what they're trying to do with HUD housing. I mean, the whole thing's a complete nightmare to begin with. The building's looking uglier as the day progresses, and it's a bigger eyesore than even I thought it would be. And fortunately, we've cleared most of the people who voted for it off the board here. We've still got a way to go yet, I guess. But I hope you guys would look into, their HUD housing portion of that and see what you can do to try to keep it from happening. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Linderman.
Robert Paladis.
First of all, I want to say thanks to everyone on the board. I know you guys have a tough job, and I'm not here to add on to it, but I think it's something of a concern. I live at 7703 Ardmore. I'm right back to the prairie. Unfortunately, I have, and please bear with me as far as terminology. I may use it wrong. Detention basin or whatever you want to call it. I have that right in my backyard. It's now been 2.5 years. It's full of trees. It's full of water, which from my understanding, it's not supposed to be. The weeds by the fence are over my head. I called a couple of weeks ago, came down. It was awful funny. Within a few hours, somebody cut part of the grass, but they still didn't cut through things. They're poor neighbors. I mean, think about it. On their side of the fence, everything looks great. Look at that what do you call it? Privacy fence, which was originally supposed to be on a swell up in the air. Now it comes to your elbows. That was supposed to block the light back of my house. Doesn't do that, but that's neither here nor there. What I'm disappointed is I keep being told that it's going to be taken care of. 2 years now. You wouldn't want to live next to it. We've got water, swamp. I got all kinds of rodents that I now have to deal with. I spent over $800 with Rottler to get this stuff out of my yard. Never had it before, but now we've got it going through. I implore each of you to drive through and look on one side of the fence, look on the other side of the fence. We've got to watch as these developers come in and they don't care. And what was supposed to be a convenience to help me is really makes it look worse. If it was on the other, if they actually moved the fence back and had to look at it every day, it would not look like this. And I really think the sense of urgency needs to be moved up. I know both my aldermen came and talked about it, but that was May. Weeds don't grow this tall since May. And I mean, a weed eater, come on. Now I realize there's some kind of things and supposedly things were put in wrong and stuff like that, but that's not my concern. And when they want to change things, that gets moved on a little bit quicker. So I implore each of you to make things change and understand as you move forward with these other developers that may come in the future, that you make sure that there's some requirements that are stepped in there, because promises made at the beginning are never followed through with. So I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mr. Paulides. Thank you. Bob, okay, thanks, Bob.
Tom Orman.
I have two questions for y'all. 7755 condos, 3 years ago when that was proposed, is now saying apartments for lease. So I'm just curious what transpired in those 3 years. Then the other thing was if that parking lot met the city of Darden standards, I mean, supposed to be a brand new facility and it ain't going to hold up 1.5 to 2 years. So just curious if y'all had any answers for that. That's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Foreman. Happy to chat with you after the meeting about that in more detail.
That was the last speaker.
Okay, thanks. Okay. Moving on, we're going to move forward to new business. Tonight we have one bill on the agenda for new business. It's Bill 2540. I'd like to entertain a motion to read Bill 2540 for the first time by title only. By Alderman Gettemeyer, second by Alderman Wilson. All in favor? Any opposed? None heard. City Attorney?
Bill number 25-40, an ordinance of the city of Dayton, Prairie, Missouri, authorizing the city administrator to execute a professional services agreement by and between the city and Stryler Planning LLC for professional planning services.
Okay, so we did have some brief discussion about this before in the work session. Just as a refresher, we had previously had a full-time employee that was executing planning services for the city. Based on some of the evolving needs of the city, this is kind of rolling into more of a part-time contractual thing. With that, there was some commentary around, since it is now a contract, and as the standard way we would handle a services contract with the city is we would put that out for bid. But in the interim, we're going to continue on with this. But since this is not, so there's a little bit more complexity with this as well. This is not a administrative item. This is a non-administrative item. So we always we've a standard on this board for 2 readings. So that being said, I'll hand it back over to the board or anybody else who would like to add comments on that before we and just to confirm, this is not an administrative item, so it would not necessitate a second reading unless someone on the board feels that it should have a second reading and there's a justification for it. None heard. Any other comments from the board before we move away from this and on to old business? None heard. Okay. That being said, we'll move to old business. Old business, we have one item on old business as well, kind of a light agenda for this evening. So for this case, I will, before we read it for the second time, it was read once on August 20th. So before we read this for the second time, I would like to see if there's any discussion from the board related to this item. None heard. Could I entertain a motion to read Bill 2539 by title only for the second time? So moved by Alderman Johnson or Alderman Wilson, second by Alderman Detweiler. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unheard. City Attorney, please read Bill 2539 by title only for the second time.
Yes, ma'am. Bill number 25-39, an ordinance of the city of Dayton, Prairie, Missouri, authorizing the city administrator to execute an intergovernmental cooperation agreement with the city of O'Fallon, Missouri for asphalt path repairs and sealing on Feisey Road.
Any further discussion with the board?
Move for a roll call vote.
Move for a roll call vote by Alderman Johnson, second by Alderman Wilson. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Unheard. City Clerk.
Alderman Johnson,
Aye.
Alderman Waters,
Aye.
Alderman Gettemeyer, Alderman Wilson, Alderman Nay,
Aye.
Alderman Detweiler. Ordinance 2376.
Now declare Bill 2539 passed and adopted as ordinance 2376. And for the edification of the folks in the audience who may not have been here before that, that is an intergovernmental agreement between O'Fallon that we would have an opportunity where our our land adjoins theirs and they're doing some road work. And so we're going to take advantage and gain some savings through efficiencies of multiple, folks. I don't know how that saying works, but we're going to gain some efficiencies and save some money by cooperating with them. So it takes board approval, and that's what we just did there. So that's all we have for old business. And kind of moving forward, the last item on the agenda here is officers and staff communication. City attorney, do you have anything?
I have nothing.
City engineer, anything further?
I have nothing, Mayor.
Okay, thanks. City administrator.
So I was just going to address the comments related to the detention basin behind the prairie. It is a detention basin, which means it's not supposed to hold water. The developer did do some repairs, however, it's still holding water, and the city engineer inspected and determined the pipes they installed are actually sitting too high. They never would drain the water. The developer is supposed to be fixing that this week. I know it has been a slow process. We're working, and pushing the developer to make these improvements. He's also indicated they will get out there and get the weeds this week. So those two items should be addressed by the end of this week. We'll do an inspection Friday afternoon, make sure they've been addressed. And if not, we'll go after them again. So I appreciate the patience on that. And planting of some additional landscaping will be later this fall. And with regard to the condos, the town square condos, just a note on the parking lot, it is a private parking lot. So it's not a public street. It's not a public roadway. And they are condos. They can be for rent, but they are technically condos as they were approved.
Thank you, city administrator. Okay. Next up, that's our aldermen are next on the agenda here. Anything from the alderman?
I do have a question. City administrator, do we need to do a ordinance or RBA for the lawn across the highways? Did we do that? Or is it something that we need to do? Maybe I messed something up. Like on the side of the highways where grass is growing a little bit taller than it should be.
Are you talking about MoDOT right-of-ways?
Yeah. Do we need to do something?
Board already discussed that and directed staff.
Okay.
So is there an area where you,
Nope.
okay, okay, because I know that is one thing that the staff has been out trying to address as well, is getting those MoDOT areas
I just wanted to
mowed.
make sure we did everything.
You guys did.
Okay. just making
You
sure.
did.
Thank you.
It's on us now. Thank you.
Good. I did, anything else from the alderman?
Yeah, I have a question or a comment. It looks like the Prairie Encore, that like vet that they're building, and the weeds and stuff seem to be high, and it seems kind of unsightly. And I'm just trying to figure out before I hear from residents, like, aren't they supposed to be manicured? And I know there's a big for sale sign there, and I would think that they would want it to look a little bit better. But I just didn't know if there's something that we could do.
There is. We can send our inspector out and they can notice them on the weeds.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Any further comments from the alderman? Okay, nothing heard. So that lands on me as the mayor here. So I got a couple of things. One, to Alderman Wilson's point, I did drive by the MoDOT and yesterday, I think it was, or maybe the day before. I did notice, looks like the staff had gotten to it and it looked a little bit, a lot better actually. So that the staff is actively, as the city administrator said, out there and getting into those places. So, please do, appreciate the good communication on that and let us know if there's anything that you see that we may have overlooked. And as a Ward 1 alderman, you see a lot more than most of us. So thank you for your, communication on that. One of the, important things that I wanted to share tonight is, over the last several months, there's been a lot of discussion around the 10 acres that the city owns here right here on Town Square, catty corner from the Catholic Church, from the old Catholic Church. So with all that discussion amongst board members and folks just kind of speaking out about it, I'd called a special meeting on the 23rd and requested the board attend, and it's a special meeting with the intent to to bring in the voice of the people in this as we look to what we're going to do with that 10 acres. Right now, there's a lot of development happening in and around Darden Prairie. There's some attention that's been given towards that 10 acres. So this meeting will provide residents with an opportunity to share their ideas and input as we, as the city and the board, explore options for how this can best serve our community. So, please come and join us if you can. Tell your friends, come on out and share your thoughts and ideas. And, we'll continue to publicize this as best as we can. And we look forward to amplifying that message through those that are here tonight. So it's going to be Tuesday, September 23rd here at City Hall at 6 p.m. We hope to see you guys there. Thanks. With that being said, as I do every meeting, I want to thank everybody who's come out here to speak. I want to congratulate our new P&Z commissioners tonight. Look forward to your service to the community, and thank you guys for stepping up to the plate. It's as those of us up here know, there's a lot of people that are interested but cannot, and I know it's challenging, but we appreciate you guys stepping up. And with that being said, thanks to St. Charles County Police Officer or St. Charles County Police for coming in, keeping us safe tonight. And that being said, we'll conclude the meeting at that. So can I entertain a motion to conclude the Board of Aldermen meeting for Wednesday, September 3rd? Moved by Alderman Gittmeyer, seconded by Alderman Wilson. All in favor? Meeting's adjourned. Thank you. And congratulations